Have you ever felt like you are invisible, even when you are standing in a crowded room? Have you ever felt the pain of being ignored, even though you work harder than everyone else? The truth is, the world does not respond to your heart. It only responds to your value. If you carry yourself like you are common, people will always treat you as replaceable. Today, I am going to share a story that will transform you from being invisible to being absolutely priceless. Welcome back to the FluentVerse Academy. I am your host, and today's session is a very special one. We're going to explore the art of increasing your personal value through a powerful story. As I speak, I want you to listen to my voice and repeat every sentence after me. This is not just a lesson in English, but a lesson in building a life of respect and authority. Let us begin our journey with the story of a man named Christopher. Once upon a time, in a world that only rewards the visible, there lived a man named Christopher who felt completely lost. Every morning, he would wake up with a heavy heart, knowing that no matter how kind he was, the world would still treat him like background noise. At his office, his colleagues would talk over him. At social gatherings, he was the person nobody remembered to greet. Even within his own circle of friends, his presence felt like an option, never a priority. One cold, lonely night, after being ignored once again, Christopher stood before his mirror with tears of frustration in his eyes and asked himself, "Why does nobody see my worth?" He realized that his pain was not coming from others, but from his own lack of value in their eyes. That very night, he made a sacred vow to stop begging for respect and start building it. Christopher began a relentless journey of self-transformation, diving deep into the biographies of kings, icons, and legendary leaders who rose from nothing. He spent months studying their lives, their habits, and the way they commanded authority without saying a single word. Through this intense research, he discovered that every high-value person in history followed 5 immutable laws of human nature. He decided to weave these rules into the very fabric of his soul. He started with the realization that his constant availability was his biggest weakness, so he began to master the power of absence. He understood that people only value things that are rare and hard to reach. He stopped being the man who was always there for everyone's minor problems, and instead, he started spending that time on his own mission. As the weeks passed, his transformation became deeper. He noticed that the more he explained himself, the less people respected him. So, he learned to speak only when your words are more beautiful than silence. He stopped gossiping, he stopped complaining, and he stopped trying to prove he was right in every petty argument. When he did speak, his voice was calm, clear, and filled with a weight that made people stop and listen. But he did not stop there. He knew that the world is a book that judges by its cover, so he decided to invest in the packaging of the soul. He fixed his posture, he groomed himself with precision, and he began to dress like the man he wanted to become. His appearance started to whisper a story of discipline and self-respect before he even entered a room. Christopher's evolution was quiet, but terrifyingly effective, because he chose to move in silence and let results roar. He did not post his goals on social media. He did not tell his friends about his new habits or his plans. He just disappeared into his work and his self-improvement. He created an aura of mystery that made everyone wonder what he was up to. Most importantly, he learned the ultimate secret of the powerful, which is to make emotional control your greatest shield. He stopped reacting to insults, he stopped getting angry at small things, and he became a mountain of calm in the middle of every storm. He became a man who was impossible to rattle. The true test of his transformation came exactly 1 year later at the company's grand annual dinner. When the doors opened and Christopher walked in, a dead silence fell over the hall. It was not the old, shy Christopher anymore. It was an icon. His body language was magnetic, his suit was sharp, and his presence felt like a physical force. People who had ignored him for years were now whispering to each other, wondering who that man was. They were drawn to him like moths to a flame, mesmerized by his maturity and the quiet authority he carried. Even those who once treated him like dust were now lining up just to shake his hand and share a moment with him. They were stunned, telling him that he had become a completely different person. But the biggest surprise was yet to come. The founder of the company, a man who only valued excellence, was so deeply impressed by Christopher's new maturity and silent power that he promoted him on the spot to the position of senior director manager. Christopher's heart was soaring like an eagle. His life had completely shifted from the shadows to the spotlight. Those 5 rules had not just added value to his career, they had added value to his very existence. This was the value addition story of Christopher, a man who went from being a ghost to becoming a legend. If you feel like the old Christopher today, remember that you are just a diamond waiting to be polished. Start following these rules, believe in your journey, and one day, the world will have no choice but to acknowledge your greatness. Please let me know. That is all for today. Keep practicing and keep rising. Goodbye for now.